The father of the baby currently growing inside me, 14 weeks along, just past the danger zone, or so I thought. I close my eyes and I see it again. Coming home from my doctor's appointment, excited to share the ultrasound photos. Walking into our apartment in Bondi to find Daniel, drunk, furious, holding my phone. "Who the fuck is James?" he'd screamed. James is my colleague at the architectural firm where I work. We'd been messaging about a project, completely professional, completely innocent. But Daniel, 3 glasses of whiskey deep, hadn't seen it that way. "He's just a co-worker," I'd said, confused. "Daniel, why are you going through my phone?" "Just a co-worker?" He threw my phone across the room. "You message him at night. You have coffee with him. You laugh at his jokes. You think I don't fucking notice? There's nothing going on." "Don't lie to me." He'd grab my arm, his fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. "You think I'm stupid? You think I don't see the way you look at him?" "Daniel, you're drunk. You're not thinking clearly." That's when he'd hit me. His fist connecting with my face so hard I'd fallen backwards, hitting the coffee table. And then he'd kept going, kicking me while I was down, screaming about betrayal, about how I was trying to humiliate him, about how he'd given me everything and this was how I repaid him. I'd curled into a ball, protecting my stomach, praying he'd stop before he hurt the baby. He'd finally stopped when I'd started bleeding. The terror on his face when he'd seen the blood had been almost comical. He'd called an ambulance, sobbing, apologising, swearing it would never happen again. The paramedics had been professional, careful. They'd asked me what happened while Daniel was out of the room. I'd said I fell. They'd exchanged looks that said they didn't believe me, but they couldn't force me to tell the truth. At the hospital, the doctor had examined me. Fractured arm, bruised ribs, facial contusions. But miraculously, the baby was okay. Still there, still growing, heart still beating. "You're very lucky," the doctor had said quietly. "Another few inches lower and—" She hadn't finished the sentence. She hadn't needed to. They'd set my arm, given me pain medication, and asked me again, privately, carefully, whether I was safe at home. And I'd lied again, said it was an accident, said I'd tripped. Because I was ashamed, because I couldn't believe this was my life, because Daniel had promised it would never happen again. But then I'd made the mistake of calling my father from the hospital to tell him I couldn't make our weekly dinner because I'd had a small accident. Marcus Blackwood is not stupid. He's one of Australia's most successful businessmen, a billionaire who built his empire through mining, real estate and strategic investments. He didn't get where he is by accepting convenient lies. He'd arrived at the hospital within 30 minutes, taken one look at my face and gone absolutely silent. That terrible, dangerous silence that I'd seen him use in business negotiations right before he destroyed someone. Now I'm in his study and he's asking me again, and I'm so tired of lying. "Yes," I whisper, "Daniel did this to me." My father doesn't move, doesn't shout, doesn't react visibly, but the temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees. "I should have left him. I should have seen the signs." "What signs?" "He gets jealous, possessive. He checks my phone sometimes. He doesn't like me going out with friends without him. He gets angry when I work late. I thought it was just because he loved me. I thought. Those aren't signs of love. Those are signs of control. Charlotte, has he hit you before?" I hesitate too long. "Tell me the truth." "Once, 6 months ago. I was on my phone at dinner and he grabbed it out of my hands. I tried to get it back and he pushed me. I hit the wall. He apologised immediately, said he'd been stressed at work, said it would never happen again. I believed him." My father closes his eyes and I see him physically composing himself. When he opens them, his expression is cold and calculating. "Where is Daniel now?" "At the apartment. He wanted to come to the hospital, but I told him to stay away. I needed space." "Good, you're not going back there." "Dad, you're not going back there," he repeats firmly. "You're staying here, with me, where you're safe. Your things will be collected from the apartment. Daniel will not come near you again. Am I clear? I'm married to him. I can't just... You absolutely can, and you will. Charlotte, that man put you in the hospital. He could have killed you. He could have killed your baby. Do you understand that? I do. I've been trying not to think about it, but I do. I'm calling Victor, my father says, reaching for his phone. Victor Chan is my father's personal lawyer. Sharp, ruthless, one of the best in Sydney. Dad, wait. Number, no more waiting. No more excuses. This ends now. He makes the call. Victor agrees to meet us tomorrow morning to discuss divorce proceedings and restraining orders. Then my father makes another call. James, it's Marcus. I need you to come to the house, bring your team. We have a situation that requires immediate attention. James Morrison is my father's head of security, ex-military, ex-federal police, the kind of man who can make problems disappear. I've known him since I was a teenager, always liked him in a distant way. What are you doing? I ask nervously. Protecting you. James and his team will collect your belongings from the apartment. Daniel won't be there. I'm having someone ensure he's occupied elsewhere. By the time he realizes what's happening, you'll be safely here and he'll be served with a restraining order. He'll be furious. I don't care. Let him be furious. He'll be furious from a distance. Dad, you don't understand. Daniel can be violent when he's angry if you provoke him. Charlotte. My father sits beside me, taking my uninjured hand carefully. I've dealt with violent men before. I've negotiated with warlords in Africa, corrupt officials in Asia, ruthless businessmen who'd kill to protect their interests. Daniel Webb is a financial analyst who thinks hitting women makes him powerful. He's nothing. He's less than nothing. And he's about to learn what happens when you hurt Marcus Blackwood's daughter. There's something in his voice that makes me shiver. Not fear exactly, but recognition that my father is capable of things I've never seen. What are you going to do? I ask quietly. Everything necessary, everything legal, and maybe a few things that exist in grey areas. Dad. Charlotte, I have spent 28 years protecting you. When your mother died giving birth to you, I promised her I would keep you safe. I've tried to respect your independence, your choices, your marriage, but that man crossed a line. He put his hands on you. He hurt you, and now he's going to pay for it in ways he can't begin to imagine. James Morrison arrives 30 minutes later with 3 of his team. They're professional, efficient, ex-military like him. My father briefs them while I sit in the study trying to process everything. Miss Blackwood, we'll need keys to the apartment and a list of items you want collected, James says gently. Take your time, we'll make sure everything is handled. I write the list with my good hand. Clothes, laptop, important documents, jewellery, photos. The things that matter, the things that are mine. What about Daniel, I ask. What if he comes back while you're there? He won't. James exchanges a glance with my father. Mr. Webb has been invited to an urgent meeting with his supervisor, a meeting that will last at least 2 hours. He'll be occupied. How did you? Your father has connections, Miss Blackwood. Don't worry about the details. They leave, and my father and I sit in his study, watching the sunset over the harbour. I should feel relieved, safe, but mostly I feel numb. I thought marriage would be different, I say quietly. I thought I'd found someone who loved me, someone good. Daniel is charming, intelligent, from a good family. He presented well. None of us saw this coming. You never really liked him. My father is quiet for a moment. I didn't dislike him, but I didn't fully trust him either. There was something in the way he looked at you, possessive, like you were an object he owned rather than a person he loved. But I told myself I was being overprotective, that I needed to let you make your own choices. You were right not to trust him. I wish I'd been wrong. James and his team returned 3 hours later with boxes of my belongings. Everything on my list, plus more. They've been thorough. Any problems? My father asks. None. The apartment was empty. We collected everything Miss Blackwood specified, plus important documents we found: marriage certificate, financial records, medical files. We also installed security cameras in the building's common areas and notified the building manager about the situation. We're documenting everything: medical records, photos of your injuries, witness statements from hospital staff. Will it be enough? I ask. More than enough. Charlotte, you have extensive injuries. You're pregnant, and there's a clear pattern of controlling behaviour. Any judge will grant the restraining order immediately. The divorce will take longer, but it's straightforward given the circumstances. What about Daniel? What will he do? He'll probably try to fight it, claim it was an accident, that you're overreacting. But the evidence doesn't lie. Your injuries are inconsistent with a fall. The medical professionals who examined you noted signs of intimate partner violence. He has no defence. Will I have to see him at court? Possibly, but we can arrange for separate entrances and waiting areas. You won't have to be near him. After Victor leaves, my father gets a phone call. He listens for a moment, his expression darkening, then steps into his private office. When he returns, he looks grimly satisfied. Daniel knows, he says simply. Knows what? That you've left, that your things are gone, that you're filing for divorce. He called the apartment building's management, screaming about break-ins. They informed him that your father's security team collected your belongings with your authorization. He's apparently quite upset. He'll try to contact me. He's already trying. 43 calls to your phone in the last hour. 27 text messages. I've had your number changed. The old one is being monitored by James's team. If Daniel makes any threats, we'll use them as evidence. Dad, I'm scared. You don't know what he's capable of when he's angry. Charlotte, this house has security that rivals government facilities. There are cameras, guards, panic buttons in every room. Daniel Webb cannot get to you here. I promise you that. But that afternoon, Daniel proves he's willing to try. He shows up at the front gate of my father's estate, drunk and screaming. The security cameras capture everything, him pounding on the gate, yelling my name, demanding to see me. Charlotte, please, I'm sorry. I love you. Come out here and talk to me. I watch on the monitor in my father's study, my good hand pressed to my mouth. James Morrison is at the gate within minutes, calm and professional. Mr. Webb, you need to leave. Miss Blackwood has made it clear she doesn't want contact with you. I need to see my wife. She's carrying my child. You can't keep me away from my family. Mr. Webb, Miss Blackwood has filed for a restraining order. You're not supposed to be here. If you don't leave voluntarily, I'll have to call the police. Call them. I don't care. I need to see Charlotte. I need to apologise. It was an accident. I would never hurt her on purpose. My father picks up his phone and makes a call. This is Marcus Blackwood. There's a man trespassing on my property, harassing my daughter. Yes, he's intoxicated. Yes, he's been violent before. I want him arrested. 10 minutes later, 2 police cars arrive. Daniel is still at the gate, still shouting. The officers approach him, and he makes the mistake of pushing one of them. He's arrested for trespassing, public intoxication, and assaulting an officer. I watch it all happen on the security feed, and I feel nothing. No sympathy, no guilt, no regret. Just a cold certainty that I made the right choice leaving him. He's going to be held overnight, my father says, hanging up after speaking with the police. Probably released tomorrow with charges pending. But it establishes a pattern of aggressive behaviour. Victor will use this. The next few days pass in a blur. The restraining order is granted immediately. The judge takes one look at my medical records and photos of my injuries and orders Daniel to stay at least 200 metres away from me at all times. The divorce proceedings begin. Daniel hires an expensive lawyer who tries to paint me as vindictive, claims Daniel was defending himself when I attacked him, suggests my injuries are exaggerated. But the evidence is overwhelming. Hospital records, police reports from the trespassing incident, witness statements from neighbours who heard Daniel screaming at me in the past, text messages from him admitting he lost control and made a mistake. His lawyer quietly suggests he should settle rather than go to trial. Absolutely not, my father says when Victor tells us. We're not settling, we're going to court. We're going to make sure everyone knows exactly what Daniel Webb did. We're going to make sure there's a public record of his violence. Dad, maybe we should just get it over with. No, Charlotte. Men like Daniel get away with abuse because women are pressured to stay quiet, to settle, to move on without making waves. I won't allow that. We're going to trial, and we're going to win, and we're going to make sure Daniel's violence is part of the public record. Dad, maybe we should just get it over with. No, Charlotte. Men like Daniel get away with abuse because women are pressured to stay quiet, to settle, to move on without making waves. I won't allow that. We're going to trial, and we're going to win, and we're going to make sure Daniel's violence is part of the public record. But my father isn't content with just legal victories. Over the following weeks, I start to notice changes. Daniel loses his job at the financial firm where he worked. The official reason is restructuring, but I suspect my father's hand in it. His company does business with Daniel's former employer. Daniel's apartment application in Neutral Bay is denied. So is his application in Cremorne and Mosman. Every decent building in the North Shore mysteriously finds reasons not to rent to him. Daniel's social circle begins to shrink. Friends stop returning his calls. Invitations to events dry up. People he thought were loyal quietly distance themselves. I should feel guilty about this, should feel bad that my father is systematically dismantling Daniel's life, but I don't. Because every time I look at my healing arm, every time I touch my still tender ribs, every time I think about how close he came to killing my baby, I feel only cold satisfaction. 3 months after I left Daniel, the divorce hearing takes place. I'm 5 months pregnant now, visibly showing. Daniel looks terrible, unshaven, wearing a suit that doesn't fit right, dark circles under his eyes. His lawyer makes a half-hearted attempt to argue that the relationship broke down mutually, that both parties share responsibility. Then Victor presents the evidence: medical records, photos of my injuries, testimony from the emergency room doctor who treated me, the police report from Daniel's arrest at my father's gate, text messages where Daniel admitted hitting me. The judge listens to all of it, her face growing colder with each revelation. Mr. Webb, she says finally, I've reviewed the evidence and I find that you committed serious domestic violence against your wife while she was pregnant with your child. The divorce is granted on grounds of domestic abuse. Miss Blackwood is awarded full custody of the unborn child, with Mr. Webb's parental rights contingent on completion of anger management therapy and supervised visitation only. Daniel starts to protest, but his lawyer grabs his arm, shutting him up. Furthermore, the judge continues, I'm ordering Mr. Webb to pay all of Miss Blackwood's medical expenses resulting from the assault, plus compensation for pain and suffering. The restraining order remains in effect indefinitely. It's over. Just like that, 3 years of marriage dissolved, my baby protected, Daniel legally kept away from me. I should feel triumphant. Instead, I just feel tired. Outside the courthouse, reporters are waiting. Someone tipped them off about the case. They shout questions as my father's security team escorts me to the car. Miss Blackwood, how does it feel to be free? Will you let Daniel see his child? Is it true your father destroyed Daniel Webb's career in retaliation? We don't answer. We just get in the car and drive away. That evening, I'm at my father's house when he gets a phone call. He listens for a few minutes, his expression unreadable. Understood. Thank you for keeping me informed. He hangs up and looks at me. Daniel's left Sydney, apparently took a job in Perth. He's gone. Gone? I feel a complicated mix of relief and something else I can't identify. Just like that? Just like that? I made sure he understands that there are consequences for putting his hands on my daughter. I ensured he has no reason to stay in Sydney, no access to you, no way to manipulate his way back into your life. Is that destroying his life? Perhaps, but he destroyed his own life the moment he chose violence. I think about this. Did you ever hurt anyone? For business? Yes, when necessary. But Charlotte, there's a difference between hard business tactics and domestic violence. I've ruined competitors, destroyed companies, made men regret crossing me, but I've never hit a woman. I've never hurt someone weaker than me. I've never laid hands on someone I claim to love. Daniel did all of those things, so yes, I made sure he paid for it. I don't know how to feel about that. Feel however you need to feel. But know that I'd do it again. I'd do worse if necessary. You're my daughter. You're carrying my grandchild. No one hurts you without consequences. 4 months later, I give birth to a daughter. 8 pounds, healthy, perfect. I name her Grace, after my mother, and after the concept of unearned mercy. Daniel sends a gift from Perth, a silver rattle and a note. I'm sorry for everything. I hope someday you can forgive me. I hope someday I can meet her. D. I put the rattle in storage and throw the note away. My father holds Grace for the first time with tears in his eyes. She looks like your mother, he says quietly. Same eyes, same expression. I wish Mum were here to meet her. She'd be so proud of you, for being strong, for protecting your daughter, for refusing to accept abuse. I didn't feel strong. I felt weak, stupid, ashamed. But you left. That's what matters. You left and you protected your baby and you built a new life. That's strength, Charlotte. Grace grows up in my father's mansion, surrounded by security and love. She's 2 years old when Daniel requests supervised visitation rights. Absolutely not, I say immediately. But Victor explains, he's completed the court-mandated therapy. He's been sober for 18 months. He's employed and stable. A judge might grant limited supervised visits. I don't want him near her. My father puts his hand on my shoulder. We'll contest it, but Charlotte, you need to prepare for the possibility that a court might order some contact. He is her biological father. The hearing is scheduled. Daniel returns to Sydney for it, looking healthier than the last time I saw him. Clean-shaven, well-dressed, sober. His lawyer argues that he's changed, that he's gotten help, that he deserves a chance to know his daughter. Victor counters with Daniel's history of violence, his arrest record, the permanent restraining order. The judge considers carefully. Mr. Webb, you seriously harmed Miss Blackwood while she was pregnant. That's not something I take lightly. However, I also recognise that people can change. I'm granting supervised visitation, 2 hours per month, at a neutral location with a professional supervisor present. This is contingent on your continued sobriety and therapy. Any violation results in immediate termination of visitation rights. It's not what I wanted, but it's something I can live with. The first visit happens at a family centre in Chatswood. I bring Grace, who's shy around this stranger claiming to be her father. Daniel tries to engage her with toys, books, but she clings to me. It's okay, sweetheart, I tell her. This is Daniel. He's going to visit with you for a little while. Daniel's eyes are wet. She's beautiful, Charlotte. Thank you for bringing her. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because the court ordered it. I know, but still, thank you. I watch through the observation window as Daniel plays awkwardly with Grace. He's gentle, patient, clearly trying. And Grace, after initial reluctance, warms to him slightly. It's confusing. This is the man who hurt me, who could have killed me. But he's also Grace's father, and he seems to be genuinely trying to be better. After the visit, Daniel approaches me in the parking lot. Charlotte, I know I have no right to ask anything of you. But I want you to know I'm truly sorry. Not just sorry I got caught, sorry for what I did. I've been in therapy for 2 years. I've learned that my behaviour was abusive, that jealousy and control aren't love. I've learned about the cycle of violence and how to break it. That's good, Daniel. I'm glad you're getting help. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect us to ever be friends. I just want you to know that what I did was wrong, and I'm working every day to be better, for Grace's sake, if nothing else. Keep being better, keep being sober, keep going to therapy, and maybe someday Grace will actually want to spend time with you. That's all I can ask for. He leaves, and I drive home with Grace babbling in her car seat, already forgetting the strange man she spent 2 hours with. My father is waiting when we get home. How did it go? Fine, he was appropriate. Grace was shy, but okay. And you? I don't know. Part of me still wants to keep her away from him forever, but part of me thinks maybe people really can change. Maybe he deserves a chance to be a father, even if he failed spectacularly as a husband. That's your decision to make. Whatever you choose, I support you. Over the following years, Daniel continues his supervised visits. He's consistent, sober, appropriate. Grace gradually becomes comfortable with him, though she never calls him Dad, just Daniel. When Grace is 5, Daniel requests increased visitation. Victor advises that we negotiate rather than fight. He's maintained sobriety, completed extensive therapy, and followed all court orders. A judge would likely grant the increase. We can negotiate terms that protect Grace. We settle on monthly day visits, still supervised, but with more time. Daniel can take Grace to parks, museums, appropriate activities, but always with supervision, always with safeguards. And slowly, painfully, we build something that resembles co-parenting. Not forgiveness, I'll never forgive what he did, but functional cooperation for Grace's sake. When Grace is 7, she asks me, "Mama, why does Daniel only visit sometimes? Why doesn't he live with us?" I've been dreading this question. Daniel and I used to be married, sweetheart, but sometimes grown-ups make mistakes and they can't be together anymore. Daniel loves you very much, but he lives in Perth now. Did he do something bad? I choose my words carefully. He made some very serious mistakes that hurt people. He's worked very hard to be better, and that's good, but he can't live with us. Did he hurt you? Yes, a long time ago, before you were born. She processes this with the seriousness of a 7-year-old. Grandpa says Daniel is lucky he's still alive. I laugh despite myself. Did Grandpa say that? He said any man who hurts you is lucky Grandpa doesn't make him disappear. What does that mean? It means Grandpa loves us very much and wants to protect us. That's what family does. On Grace's 8th birthday, my father throws a massive party at his mansion. Hundreds of guests, carnival rides, entertainers, ridiculous amounts of cake. Daniel is invited to the party at Grace's request. He shows up with a present, stays for 2 hours under watchful supervision, and leaves before causing any problems. As he's leaving, my father intercepts him. I watch from across the lawn as they have a conversation I can't hear. Daniel looks nervous. My father's expression is unreadable. Later, I ask my father what they discussed. I told him that I've spent 8 years watching him, monitoring his therapy, his sobriety, his behaviour. I told him that I've seen evidence of genuine change, which is the only reason he's still breathing. Dad, I also told him that if he ever hurts you or Grace again, there is no place on earth he can hide. That I have resources he can't imagine, connections he can't escape, and a willingness to do things that would shock him. I wanted him to understand that his supervised visits, his chance to know his daughter, are privileges I'm allowing, not rights he's entitled to. What did he say? He said he understands. He said he's grateful for the chance to be in Grace's life. He said he knows he doesn't deserve it. Do you believe him, that he's changed? My father considers this. I believe he's trying. I believe the therapy has helped. I believe he understands what he did was wrong. Do I trust him? No. Will I ever fully believe he's not dangerous? No. But for Grace's sake, I'm willing to allow supervised contact as long as he continues to demonstrate change. That's more generous than I expected from you. I'm not generous, I'm pragmatic. Grace deserves a father, if he can be one without endangering her. But he's on permanent probation. One slip and he's done. When Grace turns 10, something shifts. She's old enough now to understand more, to ask harder questions. Mama, why was Daniel never allowed to live with us? What exactly did he do? I've prepared for this conversation, consulted with therapists about age-appropriate ways to discuss domestic violence. When I was pregnant with you, I say carefully, Daniel got very angry about something that wasn't important, and instead of using his words, he hurt me physically. He hit me and hurt me badly enough that I had to go to the hospital. Grace's eyes go wide. He hit you while you were pregnant with me? Yes. Could he have hurt me too? He could have. That's why I left him, to protect both of us. Is that why you and Grandpa are always so careful about where I see him? Yes, we want to make sure you're safe. Daniel has worked very hard to change, to be better. The therapy and supervision are to make sure he really has changed. Grace is quiet for a long time. Then, I'm glad you left him. I'm glad Grandpa protected us. Me too, sweetheart. Mama, if someone ever hurts me like that, what should I do? You leave. Immediately. No matter what they say, no matter how much they apologize, no matter how much you love them. You leave and you tell someone who can help you. Promise me. I promise. That evening, my father finds me on the terrace, watching the harbour. You told her, he says. Not a question. She's old enough to know the truth, old enough to learn from it. What did she say? That she's glad I left, that she's glad you protected us. He puts his arm around me. You protected yourself. You made the hard choice to leave. I just made sure Daniel understood there were consequences. Do you think he understands? Really? I think he's terrified of me, which is appropriate. Fear is a better motivator than trust for men like him. He's been consistent for 10 years, sober, appropriate, following all the rules. Yes, which is why I haven't done anything more to him. But Charlotte, I want you to understand something. I will spend the rest of my life monitoring Daniel Webb. I will always have people watching him, tracking him, reporting his behaviour. Not because I enjoy it, but because I will never trust that he's truly changed. And if he ever shows signs of violence again toward anyone, I'll make sure he faces consequences. That's a long time to hold a grudge. It's not a grudge, it's protection. He hurt my daughter. He could have killed my granddaughter. Some things don't get forgiven, Charlotte. Some things get permanently remembered. Grace is 16 when Daniel requests unsupervised visitation. She's old enough now to have opinions about it. What do you think? I ask her. Do you want unsupervised time with Daniel? She considers carefully. She's thoughtful, mature beyond her years, aware of the complicated history. I think so, she says finally. He's been consistent my whole life. He's never been anything but appropriate with me. And I'm old enough now to handle myself if something goes wrong. Plus, she grins, Grandpa has that tracking app on my phone. If I'm ever in danger, he'll know immediately. She's right. My father insisted on state-of-the-art security for Grace. Tracking, panic buttons, trained bodyguards who follow at a discreet distance whenever she's out. Okay, I say. We'll negotiate terms. But Grace, promise me, if you ever feel unsafe, even slightly uncomfortable, you leave immediately and call me. I promise, Mama. The first unsupervised visit is lunch at a cafe in the city. My father has security watching from multiple angles. Grace has her phone with emergency contacts programmed. Daniel arrives nervous, clearly aware he's being monitored. It goes fine. They have lunch, talk about Grace's school and hobbies, part amicably after 2 hours. He was nice, Grace reports that evening. Nervous, but nice. He asked about my life, listened to me talk about school. It was normal. I'm glad. He said he's proud of who I'm becoming, that he's grateful for the chance to know me, that he knows he doesn't deserve it. He's right, he doesn't. But you let him anyway. Why? Because holding on to anger forever only hurts me. Because you deserve a relationship with your father if it can be safe. Because sometimes people really do change, even if we never fully trust it. Grace hugs me. Thank you for protecting me, for making sure I was safe, for never forcing me to have a relationship with him. Always, sweetheart, always. When Grace turns 18, she's accepted to the University of Sydney to study architecture, following in my footsteps. My father throws another massive party at the mansion. Daniel is invited. He brings a modest gift and stays for 3 hours, chatting appropriately with guests, beaming with pride when Grace mentions her university acceptance. As the party winds down, I find him on the terrace where I stood 12 years ago, planning my escape. "She's extraordinary," he says quietly. "You've done an amazing job raising her." "Yes, I have, with my father's help." "I know, I had almost nothing to do with it. I know I lost that right when I hurt you. But Charlotte, I want you to know I am genuinely proud of who she is, and I'm grateful you let me be even a small part of her life. You were consistent. You did the work. You never violated the boundaries. That earned you the privilege of knowing her. I'm sober 12 years now, therapy for 12 years. I've learned things about myself I wish I'd known before, about violence, control, the cycle of abuse. Good. Use that knowledge to make sure you never hurt anyone again. I haven't. I won't. I've been dating someone for 3 years. I haven't told Grace because I wanted to be sure it was serious." I laugh. "Good. He should. He spent 12 years making sure you understand there are consequences for hurting his family." "Has he been watching me all this time?" "Constantly. You're monitored, Daniel. Every job, every relationship, every aspect of your life. My father has eyes everywhere. If you'd shown any sign of violence, any hint of danger, you'd have been removed. Permanently." Daniel pales slightly. "Removed?" "My father is one of the most powerful men in Australia. He has resources you can't imagine, and he loves his daughter and granddaughter more than anything. Use your imagination about what he's capable of." I believe it, and honestly, I'm grateful for it. The monitoring, the consequences, the fear, it kept me honest. It made me do the work even when it was hard. Your father's vigilance probably saved lives. It's the most insightful thing Daniel's ever said. Go back to Perth, I tell him. Back to your partner, your therapy, your life. Grace will visit when she wants to, on her terms. Keep being consistent, keep being appropriate, and maybe someday she'll call you Dad instead of Daniel. That's all I can hope for. He leaves, and my father joins me on the terrace. "I heard the conversation," he says. "Surveillance cameras." "Of course they are. Did you really have him monitored for 12 years? Every day. Every relationship, every job, every purchase, every location. I wanted to know if he was drinking, using drugs, showing signs of violence. I wanted to be able to intervene before he hurt anyone else. That's extreme." "Is it? He fractured your arm, Charlotte. He could have killed you and Grace." "I'd say 12 years of surveillance is a bargain compared to what I wanted to do to him." "What did you want to do?" My father is quiet for a long moment. Things I can't say out loud. Things that would have made me no better than him. So I settled for systematic destruction of his Sydney life, permanent monitoring, and the certain knowledge that if he ever hurts anyone again, I'll know and I'll act. You're terrifying, you know that. Only to people who deserve it. To you and Grace, I'm just Dad and Grandpa, the man who'll do absolutely anything to protect his family. I love you, Dad. I love you too, Charlotte, more than you'll ever know. Grace graduates university with honours. She's 22, brilliant, kind, with her whole life ahead of her. Daniel attends the graduation, sitting in the back, beaming with pride he doesn't quite deserve. At the celebration dinner, Grace makes a toast. I want to thank my mother for being the strongest person I know, for protecting me, for showing me what it means to have boundaries, for teaching me that love should never hurt. And I want to thank my grandfather for always being there, for being the father figure I needed, for showing me what real strength looks like. She doesn't mention Daniel. He notices, and he accepts it with grace, understanding this is what he earned. Later, Grace pulls me aside. "Mama, I want you to know, I understand now, what you went through, what you sacrificed to keep me safe, what it cost you to leave when you were vulnerable and scared. You're my hero." I cry, holding my daughter, this miraculous human who wouldn't exist if Daniel hadn't hurt me, but who also wouldn't have survived if I hadn't found the strength to leave. "You're going to be okay," I tell her. "You're going to have an amazing life, and if anyone ever tries to hurt you..." I leave immediately and call Grandpa, who has terrifying resources and a willingness to use them. "I know, Mama, you've taught me well." She has learned, and that's all I can hope for. 20 years after Daniel fractured my arm, I'm sitting on my father's terrace watching Grace play with her own daughter, my granddaughter Lily, 3 years old, bright and curious and loved. Grace married a kind man who adores her, who treats her with respect, who makes her laugh. She's built a successful architecture practice. She's happy in a way I never was with Daniel. "You did well," my father says, joining me with 2 glasses of wine. "She's happy, safe, thriving." "We did well. I couldn't have protected her without you." "You protected yourself. You made the hard choice. I just made sure there were consequences for the man who hurt you." "Do you still monitor Daniel?" "Every day. He's still in Perth, still with the same partner, still sober, still in therapy, still appropriate, still terrified of me." "Are you ever going to stop?" "No. Some things don't end, Charlotte. Some vigilance is permanent. As long as I'm alive, I'll make sure Daniel Webb never hurts another woman. It's the least I can do." "You're a good father." "I'm a father who failed to protect his daughter from her husband's violence. Monitoring Daniel for the rest of his life is my penance." "You didn't fail me. You saved me." "You saved yourself. I just made sure the world understood there are consequences." We sit in comfortable silence, watching Lily chase butterflies across the lawn, watching Grace watch her daughter with the same protective love I feel, the same protective love my father has always shown me. Daniel hurt me, badly. He could have killed me and my baby, but I survived. And my father made sure Daniel paid for what he did, not just legally, but systematically, permanently, inescapably. Some people might call it revenge. My father calls it consequences. I call it justice. And as I watch my granddaughter play, safe and loved and protected, I know it was worth it, every bit of it.